On competition. Competition is interesting. Competition is something I've been engaging in for a long time. Competition is something that it happens to seem to be one of these American pastimes that is indoctrinated at birth, which is bizarre to me. And it is not that there is no beauty in competition, because there is. However, should that be the ordinal, right? Should that be the first order value? I doubt that, right? Because oftentimes when it's a first order value, especially when there is no consideration for cooperation or anything of this nature, it's very destructive. It destroys your family, it destroys yourself, it destroys friendships, it destroys all kinds of things, because everybody wants to be the best, everybody wants to have the highest status, everybody wants to do all these sorts of things that are bizarre, right? Because honestly, certainly in a foot race, maybe there is somebody who's absolutely the fastest. And everybody knows who that is once they start foot racing versus one another. Could you find yourself to be a faster foot racer than these other people? Certainly. Often, how does this get achieved? One, you need it's best to know that other records exist, right? Because oftentimes when you know a record exists, you're like, well, this is something that I can potentially do, right? When you think that it's impossible, sometimes you can't achieve this result. But the resultant is the same, and it's truly a failure in what it is that you're trying to achieve. Oftentimes when you're trying to compete, especially against oneself, you are looking for inner excellence, right? And so that is what the dream is, or the chase. It is about the challenge of the moment, the challenge of this time, the timeliness of this challenge within oneself. So it's not really about beating the other, right? It's about beating the self. And the good news is that if you look at the greatest victories of all time, certainly some of these people have had top contenders, and you have to have, if it's competition versus another opponent, not competition versus oneself, competition versus nature, competition from ideal, competition from understanding, right? Now these things, like when I'm competing to understand, well, I'm competing with the universe, right? And not to say that I'm like in some sort of struggle with the universe, because I'm not, right? Because you don't win in that situation. But what can happen is when you are in that struggle, you come to see, oh, this, after 10,000 trials, this piece of data leads me to this this ideal. And that's wonderful, because you're like, oh, 0.00001 is a touch point to the full understanding of this particular phenomena, right? Or you're like, oh, this electrical variance is as such that it allows me to know that under this particular circumstance, these sorts of reactions happen with the stimuli, with this electrical stimuli. So I would say that the best competition is within oneself, because you can achieve your best excellence there, and certainly have supportive adversaries if you can find them. You may have to find, like, your adversaries may just want to crush you, and that's okay too, because if you are absolutely competing against yourself, as Miyamoto Musashi did, you will be a legend of the Five Rings. That will be your destiny. But you have to compete tirelessly to have that level of excellence. And that is its own weight or burden, and that may not be something that you want to bear. And that is quite all right, because you can be excellent without having to be the best. And you may come to find still things that no one else has seen, even in excellence, without having to wear that magical cap. Because in excellence, you will be the number one momentarily. However, you may not be able to hold that position continuously, which is okay, because is it really that interesting to have to fight that much? And maybe it is to you. And if so, I wish you the best in your journey. Do it well. Do it with as little harm as possible. Do it versus yourself and for the enjoyment of growth. And that's good. And learn how to be cooperatively competitive. So see what you can do. See how you can help yourself, your community, your family, your friends, your society, nature. There are a great many beauties in the universe. Enjoy.